right. Hello. Hello. Thank you for joining in either live or on the replay. You need to know I appreciate each and every one of you, each and every like, share, and follow. That is the way that you tip a small business in this day and age. Today is an amazing day. Every day is an amazing day, but today, here where I'm at in small rural Montana, I was up early. The weather was perfect. The dog and I did a nice walk, and I'm like, oh, I want to find a place that I can live where every day is like this on replay. Picture perfect. Just needed a sweatshirt. Everything's calm, still, and what a place for an attitude of gratitude for sure. So today I want to talk about growth, real growth, the kind that only comes through lived experiences, through trying, through failing, through adjusting and learning. Because whether the subject is marriage or the job, the profession that you work in, your health, parenting, any business, or your core identity. Many people hit a season where they feel restless. They feel like they all of a sudden are wanting to blow up their life, or like that midlife crisis, right? Or those big transitions. This time of year, college graduation, high school graduation, that big transition in the spring of the year and the what is next. Sometimes, however, instead of blowing up our life, what we really need to do is reflect and prune back some things.
If you're ready to take back control of your health, you're in the right place. Welcome to Awaken Wellness with me, Tanya Candy, registered nurse and health coach. Now, I'm not your typical nurse. I consider myself divorced from traditional healthcare. I broke free of the sick care system in 2019 when I realized that the root cause to my sickness, my autoimmune disease, and my chronic pain was me. If you're ready for truth, for clarity, for honesty in a tough, love, compassionate way, I'm the coach for you. Join me while we dig into our root causes of sickness and disease.
Right. So we're going to talk about a 7-year itch. Who has heard that term? So if you're live, thank you for being here. If you're in the comments, let's see some hands up. Have you ever had that 7-year itch? A lot of times we think about it in a perspective talking about marriage, right? But a 7-year itch, let's say that it's not always about wanting to escape. When I hear that, I think of um, well, definitely relationships and things. You've given it some time, and things are not a good fit, or things are not working out. But let's reframe that a little bit. Let's think of it as maybe it's that you're just outgrowing an old identity, or that you're recognizing patterns that are either working for you or working against you. Or maybe you're craving alignment, or you could say realignment. You're realizing your current systems are no longer a good fit. You're being called into a wiser version of yourself. So that kind of applies big picture. When I say that, Maybe some of you think of relationships. Maybe some of you think of career choices, or even, like I said, those big transitions, graduation time. Maybe you're becoming an empty nester. There are so many transitions that happen in life. Right now, I personally am going through a 7-year transition. In my history, that 7-year thing has been um, has really reoccurred. It's been a thing. For me, it has been relationship wise. I would say my first marriage, that was definitely at that kind of 7-year point where it's like, okay, this person was not ready to grow up. This person was not ready to be my partner. Now, career wise or even hobby wise, I really find a 7-year transition. I've had a 7-year horse phase where I was really stuck in my work life. I had well, thinking back, my first 10-year phase, that was 10. I made it 10 years as a self-employed beautician. But that those changes and that first marriage, they definitely were happening together, right? My identity really shifted along those lines. I went back to school to be a nurse, and I would say it was probably about 7 years into that nursing career where I felt that unalignment happening, that pull happening, where the expectations that I had in my mind going into the profession were not really panning out in real life situations, right? So I'm at a point again now with my current business, Awaken Wellness. I've been here working as a holistic RN or a health coach, holistic or restorative health coach. There's all sorts of labels that you could give it. And it's been about 7 years. So I am again feeling a shift, almost a rebranding coming to fruition in my business. But it's definitely not me quitting. It's an exciting, okay, we've had 7 years of real one to one, we've had 7 years of real experience. So right now I'm really um, going back through those 7 years, looking at client wins, looking at what really worked, what was really as an overall population, what really worked, and then looking at what didn't work, where I need growth as a coach. And I see going through uh it's the hardest part is that not overwhelming people with everything all at once, right? And giving people that bit by bit, trusting that they're going to come back for the next bit. So that's where I've grown the most, figuring out what processes drained my energy. Again, what things were just too complicated for me, for my clients as well. So that is where I'm headed in May. I've started implementing some of those changes already, and everything will be up and ready to go live in May. So I'm really, really excited about it. I would say things are going to be a lot simpler. They're going to be a lot clearer for myself and for my clients. Now, I did it was a few years ago, probably not quite 7, but a few years ago, I had invested in myself getting trained in quantum muscle testing. I had also invested in a bioenergetic um, machine. It's called a Quest 4. And that's kind of been the heart of my business. I had transitioned away from using so much functional testing and using more energetic testing. And I feel it's time to again transition away from that and go back to the basics. Go back to the black and white, what we can monitor through blood, through urine, through saliva. Now, why I kind of originally gotten away from that was there's so much expense in it. And my own money blocks or money issues really what was the main factor. The bioenergetic testing, will definitely still use that as a tool, especially for like emotional blocks and that kind of thing. So I'm really excited. I'm feeling grounded. So if you have worked with me in the past, or if you've been thinking about working with me in the future, this is the model that we're moving to. I'm moving to more of a package system, and it's whether you're working with me in person or whether you're working with me virtually. We're going to start with blood labs. So we're going to start with taking a picture. We can recycle labs that you already have, or I'll help you and we'll get you some labs, and we're going to start with that as a foundation. So it's good. It's really good. So going back to that 7-year itch, many people confuse experience with time, but time alone does not make you experienced. So often I say, like, you're not an experienced doctor until you've worked someone through a crisis. You're not an experienced power lineman until you've lived through some blizzards. You're not an experienced, plumber until you've made a huge mistake and had to fix it. You're not an experienced parent or entrepreneur, whatever it is. Making you experienced at whatever your profession is, or making me experienced at my profession, it really means through that we've lived through some shitty experiences. It's the hard things, it's the things that didn't work out like you thought, that really make you an expert, really makes you experienced. Or if you're a driver, you're only an experienced driver until you've had a wreck or two, right? It's those experiences. When you become experienced to a certain level, no matter what you do, you may have a pivot. You may have that itch to do something else. It may feel like you've conquered that area. Those are all things that are very human. They're very normal. When we have experience, we've solved real problems. We've stayed when things get hard. We made mistakes and we learn from them. We've taken time and we've reflected. And we learn discernment. And you change. You do change. Your maturity changes. Your tolerance changes. Some people will repeat that same cycle every 7 years. Even when you think about people who suffer with addiction, there is so many common 7-year cycles for whatever the reason is. When you think even the days of the week, and there's that 7 days a week, and there's a day of rest. When you think of the biblical cycles, that planting, seed time, harvest, there is that 7-year rest. So sometimes, especially as humans, we've really negated all of that. We've forgotten that rest part of it, right? So, like, wouldn't that be cool if you were so good with your finances that every 6 years you could take a year off? and travel and hang out, do whatever you want, and not do whatever you don't want. That's kind of a cool thought. That wasn't in my notes. That just really came to me thinking about those 7-year cycles. That itch, that change, it is for a reason. So if that's you and I've got your thoughts going, you're like, wow, that is happening in my life. That has happened in my life. So maybe you're ready to rebrand some area of your life as well. And I don't mean like your logo. I don't mean your social media page. I don't mean go crazy and get a divorce. Just tune in. Start listening. Listen how you talk to yourself. What goes on in your head? What is your self talk like? What do you tolerate? What do you need to prune back? What do you need to stop tolerating? Thinking about how you fuel your body. Is food medicine? Is what you eat a blessing to your body? Think about your time. That's a big one. If you're having that itch and you know you're needing something to change, or you're needing to prune some things, really think daily. Where is your time going? Where are the black holes? What things are going on in your life that are not producing fruit, right? How about excuses? What excuses do you keep repeating? Things that you should do, that you know to do, that you try to do for a day or two, and then time goes by and you're stuck in that cycle. What patterns need to come to an end to finally say, I am done with this? And what standards do you need to raise? Is it your commitment to your health? Is it your commitment to your finances? Is it finding better friends to hang out with? Is it the time to really grow up? Time to really maybe even prune out some of the toys, or some of the things that you're spending money on that you even used to enjoy, and now you don't really enjoy them, but they're still taking up space when they you could be letting them go onto either the next owner or whatever that looks like. What is there something that's holding you back even in your hobbies? Now, sometimes your body is the first place you'll notice that misalignment. And the misalignment, like if you just popped in, or if you're go back and get the replay, we talked about all sorts of areas in your life. These things have to be in some sort of harmony in order for you to feel like you're prospering. So, misalignment, symptoms of that might be like low energy, weight gain that seems somewhat out of the blue when you're doing the same things, you're pretty much eating the same that you have been, but you're in that place where you need to decide if you're going to go buy bigger pants or if you're going to do something about it, right? And for some people, really that weight gain is a 7-year itch too, right? You get to the point where you're like, no, I'm not buying bigger pants. I need to fix this. And so how long did that take? Did that creep up slowly, or did that come on really fast? Either way, that's something that I'm here to help you figure out. How about your sleep? If you're sleeping poorly, brain fog is another big one. If that term is unfamiliar to you, it's just that cloudiness where you just don't feel like you're as snappy. You're not thinking quite as quick or quite as clearly. You might find yourself searching for the right words, forgetting names. I myself, my brain fog is a lot better, but it's still, when I'm on the spot, it's still, I can be at a loss for words. And then there's just feeling stuck. Like you can't put your finger on it, but you just don't like anything anymore. You don't like your job. All of a sudden your coworkers are just they just need to go. And those are things that are natural. And especially if you've been there for a while, it's time for a different position, or maybe it's time to move on. A lot of times people are looking for an outside source of motivation instead of taking some time to reflect internally. What is the root cause? What's driving this feeling, this 7-year itch, this need to do something else? I've said many times, for me, it's a spring thing. So some springs are bigger than others for me, but it's always coming on when that earth is coming back to wake, and things are moving forward. When I want movement, when I make big decisions, it's usually coming on March, April, and then boom, I move forward with it in May. And that's exactly where I'm at again. My any major identity shift, career change, big decision is always been in the spring. So I'd love to hear in the comments, if you agree. Are you a seasonal affective? And it's not a disorder. It is very natural. Now, of course, some people go off the rails. It's much different, but it is a good thing when you let it be a motivational tool. So a lot of times when people are thinking they need motivation, or they lack motivation, or something's off, a lot of times what they really need is structure. They need support, better habits, nervous system regulation, which that's a big thing. Everybody's talking about that nowadays. It's way easier to talk about than it is to actually achieve. That's for sure. Consistency makes all the difference in the world. And a new strategy based on wisdom, based on the things that you learned in those past years, not based on willpower. Willpower is about the last tool. Like, willpower is, oh, I don't know. I guess some people have more of it than others, and it probably depends on what the subject is, what you're willing away. So I want each and every one of you to know that I am grateful, so grateful for every chapter that has gotten me here to where I am. For every hard lesson, I'm always been one of those strong-willed people that learns my lessons my way, and it's generally the hard way, right? Oh gosh, when you just think about all of those joyous lessons and all of those people in our lives that give us the opportunity to build character when we filter what comes out of our mouth and we do our best to choose kindness. Sometimes I come off a little bit more sarcastic than kind. That's one I'm still working on, right? Oh, all those years that I worked in the correctional system as a jail nurse. That was like, oh my goodness. You we one of my one of my inside jokes was there really should be an ICD-9 code for dumbass. If you know what an ICD-9 code is, that's behavioral or a code, an insurance code. And yes, there there are a lot of people. It's not them, it's their behavior, right? With some growing up to do, or at any age where there can be some growing up to do. So anyway, in this next season, let's work together. Let's make our life cleaner. Let's make our body cleaner. Let's make our food cleaner. Let's become wiser. Let's take the wisdom that we have learned from our past mistakes and let's really become more aligned. So, when you look at the people around you in your life, who are you really feeling aligned with? Or who do you need to prune away in order to grow? And spring is the time that you prune. It's the time you prune your your rose bushes, your trees. So habits, things that you know that you are not serving you, that you should be letting go of, that you should be pruning back. Sometimes even learning to say no. You don't have to be involved in everything. Your kids do not have to be involved in everything. Like, really, really pick, really choose what's important. Like, the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. If you could see 10 years into the future, or those, people who have had near death experiences, or their life is known to be short, have a couple of conversations with them and they'll let you know really fast what they wish they would have let go of and what they wish they would have held on tighter to. So, those things are something that we can reflect upon at any time and be more aligned. So, if you've been feeling that itch lately, I don't think your life is falling apart. I think you're ready to reflect, to prune back what is not serving you so you can bloom forward in the next season. So, this is my call to action. As Awaken Wellness blooms forward in the next season, right now, how I will be working with clients until September when my group program opens back up. Right now it's closed. I've closed it. Nobody is getting in. We're having a silent season. So right now I am taking new clients and we are working on a first introductory appointment. It's called a root cause assessment or root cause review. So you would use your blood labs. You'll have to make an appointment and get your labs to me. If you don't have any, no problem. I can help you out. We can figure out how to get them drawn, even if you're virtual, you're not right here within driving distance. And then we're going to look at those labs because I know that you're feeling that urge to do something better, or you wouldn't be here listening. You know that you don't want to end up on 10 medications like your grandpa and grandma, and you don't want to end up with cancer and type 2 diabetes and all those things. But you've probably had your one time a year labs done and you've been to the doctor and they said, well, I don't know, all your labs are normal. We can't help you right now. Come back when you're sicker, right? That is who I really enjoy helping, is people who are wanting to do better before something tragic happens, before the diagnosis comes. That's my favorite crowd. Now, I'm not saying that I can't help people who already have the diagnosis, who already have been told they have autoimmune disease, or who have already been told they have cancer or something else. Like, we can help anything. Your body was created to heal. We just start simply by removing what was never supposed to be there and replenishing what is missing. That's that's it in a nutshell. It is that simple. When we're willing to get out of the way of that process, when we're willing to come into a structured program, when we're willing to be teachable and assume that the life of doing things our way is what got us to this point, right? Is what got us feeling not so wonderful. So, bringing in that structure, after that first root cause review, you will have the option of working with me in a package of 4 sessions that is going to take you about 5 months to complete. And I'm going to slow everything down from what I was doing. We're going to slow things down. We're going to use some functional lab work. And then we're just going to work little by little at a pace that you can handle and get you moving forward, get you blooming forward and awaken that wellness within. So I thank you so much for being here, live or on the replay. You can reach out to us, call the good old fashioned landline, just get to our website. The phone number's there. It is awakenwellnessllc.com. I would love it if you take the time to find me on YouTube. I've got Awaken Wellness TV. So whether you're on my main platforms or YouTube and Facebook, so like, share, and follow, and we'll see you the same time next week.